Hello, this is Salam with a quick episode here of the Vintage Computer Shack. I just wanted to show off this IBM 5251 Beamspring keyboard that I just restored and converted to USB. These are pretty neat keyboards. These are from, I believe, the 70s, and they went with the IBM 5251 terminal. These days, people have been retrofitting them, I guess, because they have this very pleasant, really nice clicky that people like, and so they've been basically become a commodity, hot commodity. But anyway, I ended up having one of these, and I decided to go ahead and upgrade it with the USB. So I have right here the well, actually, I'll pop the lid here real quick and show you that underneath we have, here's the converter, or the controller. It's made by Wong-Cornall, and it's called a Beamspring USB 5251. And as you can see, it's just a drop-in replacement for the original board. There's the original IBM board. There's the connector there, and then the main controller chip and some support circuitry. And so that comes right off of there. And in its place goes this new USB Beamspring controller. Has a mini USB connector. I think it should have been a Type B connector personally, so you can put thicker, stockier USB cables there, but this worked fine. I routed this cable around here, and then there's the original clamp there, and I put some a little bit of sheathing around that to hold it in place, and just put this nice USB cable on there. And then I also have the solenoid controller. So here's a solenoid right here, and I'll demonstrate why there'd be a solenoid in the keyboard here in just a second. But this is the controller for that, and it's connected to the main board. And so this all is basically configured by this software here called IBM Capsense, and this is a Linux version I have installed. There's also, of course, Windows version. So here's the first window where you set the voltage threshold. This works on a capacitance type system. I don't want to try to explain it because I don't really have all the technical details, but basically you have to set this voltage threshold here so that it'll sense the key presses properly. And so right here it has a little grid of the key presses, what's being pressed. And so you can see here that when I'm pressing these different keys, you can see it's registering on the matrix there. And so over here you have with this tab, or you move the tabs over, and you have this keyboard mapping. Let's see. One more. There it is, base layer. And so this shows you all the keyboard mappings. And so you can see the array of function keys that would map down to these right here. So for instance, when I go ahead and press them, you can see that it's highlighting them for you to show you what key you're pressing. So when you're configuring this, you can see what you're doing. And let's see, we have all the basic keys, escape and the letters and numbers, etc. And then over here on the far end, we have the numeric keypad. And so you have all the digits and then the special math symbol keys and stuff like that. What's interesting over here is this key right here has been converted to a numlock. And so that way you can use arrows and stuff. So for example, here we are in the word processor, and you can do all the basic typing and stuff that you would do on any old keyboard, of course. And so then if we wanted to, well, here we go, we're in number mode right now, I believe, right? So there we go, there are all the numbers. And then if we wanted to switch to numeric keypad, we would hit that. And then now up here you can see that we're going up and down when I'm pressing, the plus arrangement of keys, traditional plus arrangement of keys, up, down, left, right. So anyway, it's very cool. So I'm going to go ahead and activate the relay over here in the software. So you go back over here and you have these different expansion headers, and I have just the solenoid buzzer. There's other things that you can add to have, like the caps lock LEDs, things like that. You can have extra functions here. Not too familiar with this software, but anyway, so now the buzzer is, in this case it's a solenoid, is enabled. So now when we hit some keys, now we have a extra click. That solenoid is firing off. All right, so you can see it actually over here. There we go, right? So Now, the purpose of that was that back in the day, when secretaries, clerks, and such that used typewriters a lot started to move to computer terminals, they couldn't get used to the feel and the physical, the visceral response from the keyboards. So IBM added that solenoid so that you would get that thunking sound, that visceral physical reaction and feedback from the keyboard, and I guess the noise too, and so that's what it's for. And anyway, so interestingly, the F and the J keys, it's really hard to tell here probably with this shot here, but you can maybe see with the difference of the reflection of light. These are the home keys. These are deeper than the rest of the keys, and so that's how you would home in. So, the layout is not as convenient as a modern, 102 key IBM Model M type keyboard. You don't have a separate segregated function arrow keys or numeric keypad and all that stuff, and you don't have a proper escape key. Right now this is mapped as escape, and then this down here is actually the tilde, because then you have even though that shows the less than greater than signs, these are of course on the plus and period and comma keys as you would normally expect. They're just, obviously the keycaps don't have the emblems, but at any rate, that can all be configured over here in the Capsense program. You can go and you can actually have different layers. You can actually, I believe you can bring these different layers in using certain, like alt keys. You can program different keys as alt and function and meta and whatever, I guess. In this case, these are alt right here, these two on either side. Or I'm sorry, this is actually mapped as a second control key. This is shift, there's two shifts, and then this is actually control right here, like on an old IBM PCAT keyboard and older computer keyboards that had control. And this is still tab. But this is escape, because that's where escape would be. This is tilde and back quote or whatever. And anyway, so whoever originally configured this found out a clever way to basically map the keys to fully utilize the layout that we had. And so then you could be over here. I have the application so it stays on top, configured so it stays on top. But I'm over here in my virtual warehouse of computing wonders, and you can still, let's see, what mode are we in? Yep, there we go. So we're in arrow mode, so I can arrow around and do everything like a normal keyboard. On the internet, I can go and just use it like I'm using any old keyboard. IBM Model 5251, bam, and there you go. There's various demos of people using their 5251. So anyway, like I said, just wanted to do a quick video to show this off. It's a pretty neat thing. I could really get used to using it because it actually is quite pleasant typing on these things, but it would be really hard to get used to the lack of keys, the missing keys and stuff like that. I'm not a typist, I don't live to type or whatever. I'm perfectly fine with this crappy old Dell keyboard back here that I've been using. Actually, I need to swap that out. But it is actually rather pleasant to type on these things. It's very pleasing to the senses. So anyway, there you go. This is going to be going up on eBay actually fairly soon if you're interested in purchasing it. And then in the my virtual warehouse of computing wonders over in the IBM section, IBM Invictus. You can see down here, you go use the tabs to select between the different places. I have keyboards in here. I have a bunch of IBM Model M keyboards if you're interested in those at some pretty reasonable prices. And so you can buy those directly from me. Just check the links in the description below. And give me a like. And tell your friends, share it. Do all kinds of stuff with this video to, let all your friends know that there's a cool IBM 5251 keyboard demo from the Vintage Computer Shack. Thank you very much, folks. Talk to you soon.